Hello everyone and welcome back to our live NABARD Phase 2 crash course. Today is a very important session for all of us in which we are trying to just get introduced with our session of answer writing. You all know answer writing, and that too not just for English part but more importantly subjective answer writing comes in NABARD as well as in RBI. This particular class is of course for NABARD, but basically we will understand what actually answer writing is, and of course this is also a demo class for all of you. So just let's start our discussion. The discussion of answer writing, when answer writing comes in our mind, everybody asks a one question, like what is this answer writing, when should I start answer writing? But before those questions, whatever you are jumping into, you should know one thing for sure, that what is this answer writing, when should I start and how should I start. These questions are later. First actually try to understand what does answer writing means. You all know you were in 10th standard, 11th standard and 12th standard, and from that you have been given different subjective or descriptive answer questions, and for those questions you had written different answers. You also know that every question comes up with a particular mark as well as with a particular word limit. You have to write the answer within the word limit, and therefore the way in which you have written the answer, your content, your writing style, your structure, based on that you are given marks. That is, the answer is evaluated according to the question which has been asked. For example, in 12th, 10th standard, maybe you had a question which was associated with history. I'll just give you an example, that what were the immediate causes of World War II, and what you do is that you start your answer where you all know there are certain standard operating procedures, there is a certain structure in which you can answer. Now just imagine one thing. Suppose I ask you a question on a white paper, right, that what were the immediate causes of World War II. If I give you and you just write that there were many causes, these are 4, 5, 6 causes in one line only, that's it. In 3 lines also you can give the answer. Whereas the other person can even write an essay over it of maybe 1000 or 1200 words, right? Whereas there would be also a person who can write the same answer within 400 to 600 words. Now what is the difference? The real answer writing, when you are trying to understand, and that too for regulatory bodies like RBI and NABARD, always remember the thing, it is very similar to UPSC but not as same as UPSC answer writing. Okay, so there are certain differences and there is peculiar features of the question or answer writing which is in our regulatory bodies exam. Let's first look at the syllabus and then we will dig deep in that what is answer writing about. Phase 2, if you see, as we are looking at 2023, descriptive answer writing, if we all are talking about, then it comes in paper 2. Now here specifically we are not going to discuss the answer writing for essay, letter and précis. We will see it in our future sessions. This is our only first class of answer writing, and I know since your childhood you are very comfortable. You have written various essays, for example my favorite pet. You have written various letters to your friend who has been recently moved away from your home. So such letters also you have written, and at the same time précis writing also we will take up. But now more importantly, we are writing an answer for a competitive exam. This is not answer writing which we imagine, which we were doing in 10th and 12th standard. So therefore, and looking at the students who are competing for a very prestigious job like NABARD, you can understand that how much competition would be there. And answer writing, if you see, the overall weightage for answer writing is almost 50-60% in phase 2, and that is why I recommend you, if you consider the subjective answer writing also and English descriptive answer writing also, then major 80% answer writing is descriptive. Answer writing as well as the weightage in the phase 2 of answer writing is 80 to 70%. So therefore I recommend students, first let us try to understand the structure. Here we are talking about just the subjective answer writing of ESI plus ARD, which comes in NABARD. Now as NABARD phase 2 is very close, that's why we are just looking at the answer writing of ESI and ARD, okay, which would be of course for 50 marks. But when RBI exam will come, I'll again take a special answer writing session for RBI candidates also. Now this is for 50 marks. Subjects are ESI and ARD. For each subject 3 questions would be asked. So ESI, ARD. In ESI, 3 questions are asked. In ARD also 3 questions are asked. The first question is for 15 marks and the words are 600 words word limit. The second 2 questions are 10 marker each for 400 word limit, and you have to write any one question out of this 2 10 marker questions. Similarly, ARD, the first question is 15 marks, which is for 600 words. The 15 marker questions are always compulsory. You cannot back down those questions. You cannot eliminate as well as you cannot ignore those questions. Okay, so there is no option that I will not solve this question, I will solve the remaining one. No, this is compulsory 15 marks. Then comes again 10 marker question, of which you have to write any one. You have to write any one. This is the overall structure. So what it means, you are given 6 questions, out of 6 you have to write any 4. Now when we are discussing it, what was the cutoff for your recent year of 2022? When you understand this, it was 23.75 out of 50. So you could see it's not that low. Okay, it is not that low. It means that students are practicing answer writing and therefore the competition is high. Now how you can get, what would be your target score in answer writing, we'll discuss that for sure. But here more importantly we are concerned with our overall answer writing, the process of answer writing and the art of answer writing which we are trying to learn. Overall, these are the previous year question. This is 2021 paper and this is 2022 paper. If you observe carefully, look at it. The cross-breeding question was compulsory in the 2021 year. MSP question was compulsory in ESI. The green part is ESI, the blue part is the green part is ARD and the blue part is your ESI. So cross-breeding question, what was the cross-breeding question? What is cross-breeding and what are the advantages and disadvantages of cross-breeding, right? This was the first question. Then comes social forestry. Now social forestry question which was there, what is social forestry and what are the components of the social forestry? This was a particular question. Now this was for 10 mark and drip irrigation also, advantages, disadvantages was for 10 mark. From social forestry and drip irrigation, either of one question you had to write. Similarly in ESI, MSP question was there which was compulsory for 15 marks, 600 words, and WTO question was there, that what are the effects, what are the overall effects of WTO on the India's economy. Okay, then farmers' dependency on non-institutional sources of finance in agriculture. This was again a question which was from the agricultural economy, that's why it was the part of ESI. From this WTO and farmers financial institutional, whatever under financial money, whatever the farmers are taking, these 2 topics you had to write any one question. Okay, so therefore this farmers dependency on non-institutional sources of finance, this is nothing but the debt crisis or maybe the debt cycle in which the farmers were involved, right? As they were taking the money or maybe they were borrowing the money from the unorganized sector. Okay, so therefore these were the 3 questions for the year of 2021. Let's talk about 2022. The first compulsory question which we saw was on government schemes from the agricultural ministry, that is Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. They asked aim, objective, challenges, in such a way this question was asked. Then a question again on scheme was there in ARD section only of National Rural Livelihood Mission. And then was social forestry question again for 10 marks. Out of this NRLM and social forestry you had to write any one. Then comes globalization, a question of globalization, that what is globalization and the effects of globalization on Indian economy. So this was for 15 marks, again a compulsory question. And then PDS system and social infrastructure question was there. So social infrastructure is prerequisite for the growth and development. This was the question. Out of these 2 you had to write any one. We saw all the topics which are important, but now we are not talking about the topics, subjective part, right? Here we are not going to discuss ESI concepts and neither we are going to talk about ARD concepts. That of course we will discuss it. The content which you should have before answer writing, it is just one part of it. We are now talking about just answer writing, how to write an answer. That is what we are discussing. So more importantly, we are talking about both the subjects, but we will discuss something which is beyond the content. Okay, so stay tuned. Let's try to understand. Now always remember, in 2021 the NABARD syllabus changed, even RBI syllabus also changed, and both of the organizations have now added the answer writing in your phase 2. Now, why was this answer writing added? Have you thought about it? Why answer writing was added? Always remember, in any of the competitive exam, two types of assessment are done of the candidate. Assessment in the sense selection procedure. First is objective assessment, second is subjective assessment. Objective assessment is nothing but it is a factual understanding of a person. Okay, so some facts, whatever that person is doing, it may be through your MCQ test. That is why your phase 1 which you are looking at, it is objective based or MCQ based. Generally, objective is nothing but it gives a clear picture that a person has knowledge or not, technical knowledge or not, skills or not, pertaining to the particular syllabus a particular exam has given. Okay, so this is about your MCQs or objectives in your phase 1. This is your objective assessment. Then why to add subjective assessment? Subjective assessment in the RBI and NABARD per se, there are two important selection stages which are combination of both objective and subjective assessment. First is phase 2, because in phase 2 also MCQs are there, and at the same time in phase 2 a subjective assessment, that is your answer writing, has been added. Now this answer writing is not totally subjective, it is objective plus subjective. Now why I am saying this? Simple. Suppose you are asked a question in your NABARD exam which is associated with the Indian economy. Okay, which is associated with the Indian economy. I'll give you an example of a question. Suppose a question comes from ESI, okay, economic and social issues. A question comes that how can India utilize its demographic dividend potential? How can India utilize its demographic dividend potential? A simple basic question. Now try to understand. The question is, how can India utilize its demographic dividend potential? You should know first what is demographic dividend, right? Without that you cannot give the answer. But there are different ways of answering this question also. Now suppose this was just a subjective assessment, people would have written whatever opinions they had, whatever views they had in this question. Some people would have written that demographic dividend in India, if you see, we are having a very large population, but still whatever the population is there, most of the population has been not employed, not equipped with skilled and technical knowledge, and therefore in spite having demographic dividend, we cannot utilize it in proper way. There would be some student who will say that our demographic dividend is not as better as China, right? And therefore we cannot compete with China. But these all are opinions. Can you actually give answer? Can you give actually evaluation to such type of answers? Can we evaluate such answers? No. And even if we evaluate, then such answers will get very low score. And that is why answer writing is not random. You cannot do answer writing assessment. Whatever this answer writing has been added in the phase 2, that cannot be done random. For example, even if I ask you a particular question, a basic question, okay, that is Indian. So recently there was a news in current affairs. Let's try to frame a question on the same. So will India become the third largest economy in this world in the coming future? Some students will write, yes, it will become. That's it. This is my answer. So this is also a possibility that some students may even write their opinions and their views. Now this shouldn't be the case, and that is why the assessment of phase 2 of answer writing is objective plus subjective. It means a particular question is asked to you, there is a question, that question is setting some demand, For example, two types of question we saw. For example, the first question was, how can India utilize its demographic dividend? There are two demands of this question. First is about demographic dividend and how to utilize that demographic dividend. Give a certain points through which we can utilize that demographic dividend. This is the overall demand of this question. Similarly, really, can India become the third largest economy in the world? Okay, if yes, substantiate. For this also a particular demand of a question is there. What are the different facts, what are the different data, reports and reasons because of which India tomorrow can be the third largest economy in the world? This question, if you see, it is having certain demand, and therefore the answer also should satisfy that demand. And also the answer cannot be written random. You cannot write 3000 word essay. Rather, there is a proper structure, there is a proper standard operating procedure to write that answer, and that's why your assessment is objective plus subjective. So therefore, overall, if you see, objective plus subjective assessment. Then let's talk about answer writing as a whole. What is answer writing? If I try to give you the answer, it is nothing but if a particular question is asked to you. Okay, always remember, now I'll tell you one thing. Suppose anybody asks you the question, never try to answer it directly. Giving answer to the question doesn't mean telling whatever you are knowing. No, that is a fallacy. Okay, anybody asks you a particular question, and if randomly you give a statement, that is not an answer. Actually, every question needs or maybe has a particular demand. Okay, that demand has to be satisfied with a particular answer. And answer writing is nothing but a proper way, structure, as well as a procedure when you are trying to satisfy the demand of the question which has been asked. This particularly simply we can call it as a answer writing. Answer writing doesn't mean to write something which we know, but rather answer writing is a writing which is to be needed, which is required by the question. So it is not about writing what you know, it is more about writing what the question is asking, what is the demand of the question. This is a subtle difference between answer writing. It is not writing what you know, but rather what is expected to be written according to the demand of the question. Okay, if I am asking you, can India become third largest economy in upcoming future? Maybe for some student, they may be knowing that yes, India can definitely become the third largest economy, but they don't have any reports, data, etc. Whereas there would be a particular student who may say that recently reports are there that by 2030, because of extensively growing domestic market, okay, apart from that tremendous FDI inflows, it has been stated that India can become the third largest economy, where right now India is hoping for almost 5 trillion. In 2030, India can peak out to be 7.8 trillion economy. See here how much facts within this short, some summarized words I have tried to put in, and therefore my answer seems to be believable, right? And it is also satisfying the demand of the question which I asked. Rather than that, compare this answer with someone student who is just saying that yes, India will become third largest economy. No, it's not. This is the basic difference between answer writing. Then from where to start the answer writing? Now always remember, there is no right time or proper time to start for answer writing. The proper time, if you say, there are two things to understand. If you are thinking that from where to start, the first stage is that whatever subject you are writing the answer, it may be economic and social issues, it may be agriculture and rural development, ESI, ARD, whatever the subject is, you should at least have completed its syllabus, or maybe you should have a decent understanding of the syllabus. Apart from that, the conceptual clarity should be there for that particular subject, topics, subtopics, so that you don't give random answers, beat around the bush, and rather you try to substantiate your answer, okay, which will again satisfy the demand of the question. Because as I told you, anybody can write an answer. The difference is, are you writing a good answer or are you writing a better answer? And therefore, thus your selection is dependent on a good or better answer. So this is the thing. How to start answer writing? This is nothing but whenever your syllabus is covered, or not complete syllabus, but at least you are comfortable with syllabus, you know in-depth syllabus topics, you have conceptual clarity of each topic of each subject, that time you can definitely start your answer writing, and there is no date fixed when you have to start for answer writing. What I think is that one day you can pick a question. The best way to start answer writing is picking a question, keeping or allocating a time, and then trying to write the answer. Once you write the answer, you keep on repeating the process and you keep on evaluating. This is the only way of from where to start writing an answer and how to start writing an answer. Okay. Now, apart from that, answer writing in RBI and NABARD, it's completely different if you compare with the standard UPSC answer writing, where we all know UPSC answer writing is about pen, paper and scribbling the answers all over. There is very high chance that in that answer writing, whatever time limit is also different, word limit is also different, the medium is also different, as you are not writing, typing on computers, but rather you are writing through a pen. Therefore, even the structure, context, essentials also will differ as compared to RBI and NABARD. When I talk about RBI and NABARD, your answer writing will happen on keyboards where you are typing on your computer screens. So, computer typing you would be doing for your answer writing. Now, this changes the game, as we naturally think that in 10th, 12th, we all have written various answers through our pen. But now, for this particular exam of RBI or NABARD, here you are typing the answers, and therefore the overall, the art of answer writing will change. Okay. The second thing is the essentials and what to do and what not to do during the answer writing, we will now discuss. So the first question is to understand the basics of answer writing, and I'll tell you how. Always remember, in your NABARD exam for phase 2, you will have multiple questions. These questions would be framed on the important topics which are in the syllabus of your NABARD, which are from the syllabus of your NABARD, right? Now, these topics, of course, would be of immense importance. How? I will tell you. Look at it now. What did you observe in all these questions? There was not a single student in the comment section who told me that, sir, this question has repeated. Now, I will tell you which question has repeated. Look at this question of social forestry, which has been repeated in 2021, which has come up in 2021, and again this social forestry has repeated in 2022. From this, we can take, there is one takeaway we can say, that forestry chapter is very important for phase 2. It's very important for phase 2. Now, similarly, here you can spot out many of the things. For example, animal husbandry, fisheries, horticulture, plantation, cropping system, cropping pattern, agronomy, field crops, soil sciences. These are important chapters for phase 1 as well as phase 2, and therefore you can expect a descriptive question on all these important topics. Similarly, for ESI also, various other topics are there. It may be national income, growth and development, employment, social issues, apart from that, government schemes. Okay, so these are all the important topics also in ESI, from which the question may come in ESI section. Okay, so LPG reforms, right? LPG reforms, overall the growth of Indian economy throughout the years from 1947 till opening up of the economy. These are the topics very important for our ESI section. So therefore, from that you can definitely see here the questions are coming from those important topics. Sector, so all these whatever topics are there, you should know them. Now that is why I told, whenever you are understanding a question, if any question in answer writing comes before you, you have to understand that there is a topic behind it, and that topic is from the syllabus which NABARD has given for ESI as well as for ARD. As simple as that. Now always remember, in each question there would be some keywords. In each question there would be some keywords. Let's take a previous year question of your NABARD 2021. What is crossbreeding? What are the advantages and disadvantages of crossbreeding? In animal husbandry, we know breeding is a very important subtopic, and breeds are also very, very important subtopic. Now, breeding is there are various methods or types of breeding, right? So therefore, the question comes from this overall topic of breeding, right? So therefore, my keyword here, they have asked, what is crossbreeding? What are the advantages and disadvantages? The keyword, if you see, it is what. Similarly, the question, the keyword could be anything which changes the tone of the question. Okay, so keyword is nothing but any important word which can totally change the tone of the question. For example, if I ask what is crossbreeding, you will define what is crossbreeding. If I ask you how crossbreeding is done, you will write procedure of the crossbreeding, how it is done. Are you getting it, what I'm trying to tell? So therefore, what, how, why, describe, analyze, explain, explain all such words are keywords which changes the tone of the question. For example, if I tell you what is globalization, then definitely you will define the globalization and you will write further points also if any secondary part of the question is there. Also, if I then ask you that explain or analyze globalization and its effect on Indian economy, again, what is globalization and analyze and explain the effects of globalization on Indian economy, both the questions are actually different. Try to understand, right? So only if I'm substituting what, why, discuss, analyze, explain, definitely the tone of the question is changing. As the tone of the question is changing, automatically the answer also will change, right? Simple. What is crossbreeding? Definition. And overall, different types of crossbreeding we can write, maximum, right? But if I ask you how is crossbreeding done, we have to write procedure of how crossbreeding is done. Simple as that. Tone of the question changes, therefore the answer also changes. Second part, then it's topic. The topic is nothing but, as I told you, the syllabus of NABARD, from which chapter, from which topic, from which subtopic the question has been asked. For example, crossbreeding question was asked from agriculture and rural development subject, from animal husbandry chapter, and from breeds breeding subtopic. You get the point? Simple. Keywords and topic will give you the direction, or more importantly will set a background, a foundation of understanding the demand of the question. The demand of the question. What is crossbreeding is asking the demand of, tell me what crossbreeding means. How is crossbreeding done? It means that tell me how crossbreeding is done. So both of the questions' tone is different, their demand is also different, and that is why keyword and topics will make the overall crux of understanding a question. Apart from that, every question can be in one part, can be in two part, or can be in three part. For example, what is crossbreeding is the one part of the question. Also give the advantages and disadvantages of crossbreeding. This is the second part of the question. Do you get the point? Now, I will give you again a question. So, what is NRLM? Okay, National Rural Livelihood Mission. Explain its aim, objectives and features, and also write the challenges which are being faced by this particular scheme. These questions now can be differentiated into three parts. First, what is NRLM? Second part, aim, objective, features, and the third part, challenges. These three parts will have three different answers combined in your overall answer. Therefore, try to understand there are three important aspects from the question. The question breakdown you have to do in keywords, topics, and the parts of the question. The number of parts of the question, the number of answer, the answer giving in your question. If the question has three parts, that means that your answer also should be such that it is satisfying the three parts of the question. If NRLM, I am asking you what is NRLM, aims, objective, features, and the challenges, your answer should have whatever content which will satisfy all these three questions, three parts. The keywords also you have to keep, because as I told you, the tone changes, answer changes, and the topics, because that is the crux of the question, that is the concept. If you don't know what crossbreeding is, you tell me how you are going to write the answer. If you don't know what demographic dividend is, then how are you going to write the answer? If you don't know what is globalization only, then what you are going to write of the effect of globalization on Indian economy. Therefore, as I told you, the prerequisite to write your answer is nothing but conceptual clarity. It is not about even the syllabus completion. There are also some people who have completed their syllabus, but they don't have conceptual clarity. So if I pick out any of the term from the syllabus, you should be knowing at least something about it, or maybe you should know the basics of it, which lays the foundation for any preparation at any stage in a competitive exam. If I ask you what is inflation, you should be knowing what inflation is, okay? Even if you know it in your simple language, that is also fine. But you should know the concept, that matters. It doesn't really matter that you have root memorized the definition of inflation. No, it doesn't really matters, but you should know the basics. basics, that what inflation actually means, then you are ready to write the answer. This is the only prerequisite. The right time is now only, not today, tomorrow. Otherwise, it's nothing but you are just keeping pushing your answer writing. Now the answer, whatever you are going to write about the question, let's consider that according to keyword, topic, parts of the question, we understood the demand of the question. Now, as we understood the demand of the question, let's write the answer. This answer should first satisfy the demand of the question. And how it will satisfy the demand? Either you can write your answer in a full paragraph like an essay. But if you are writing it in an essay, look it from a third person's point of view, who is the examiner. So suppose you write an answer in full-fledged paragraph. At that time, you will definitely understand that, okay, the examiner may say that he has written the answer, but while reading throughout, in spite the content is good, I am not getting specific different points which are there. And as this question is for 15 marks or 10 marks, therefore I am not getting enough points from this paragraph. And that is why there is a proper structure which you should follow. And there's, you have to write an answer which should satisfy the demand of the question in a specific way. You cannot just write yes. You cannot just write no. You cannot just write your opinions, your viewpoints. Okay? So answer writing, you have to write it in a certain way, a specific way. It should be written in a proper structure. As I told you, rather than paragraph based, you should write it in point wise manner. If a 10 marker question is there and if you are writing 8 points specifically with headings, subheadings, right? Then definitely when I am looking at the answer sheet, wow, he has written an answer with proper points. 8 points he has written for 10 marks, definitely. Each point, then I can even segregate the marks, right? And I can easily give you marks. Okay? So this also again counts, the structure also counts. Then it's standard operating procedure. What is procedure of answer writing? What is the standard procedure? You all know it, okay? Everybody know that when you are writing the answer, we are writing introduction, then we are writing body, and then we are writing conclusion. But we don't discuss beyond it. We just know what introduction is, we just know what body is, and we just know what conclusion is. We will now discuss about it too. And then comes your evaluation. Always remember, whenever you are writing an answer, there would be a third person to evaluate it. You yourself are not evaluating it. Also, as I told you, answer writing is objective plus subjective part. And as you all know, you may like your essay, but I may not like your essay. Right? Maybe your friends also may like your essay, but the examiner, your teacher who is checking your essays, he may not like your essay. Right? So in this way, subjective answer writing becomes a little bit tricky. But then how to score in answer writing? So the point is, as I told you, the assessment of answer writing is not just subjective. It is objective plus subjective. You cannot write random things in the answer. You cannot write your views, opinions. So rather than writing views and opinions, you should write arguments. And these arguments you have to shape in form of dimensions. Different multiple dimensions you have to write your arguments. These arguments, when you are writing, you have to support those arguments with either examples, with either facts, and therefore then a subjective answer automatically becomes an objective also answer, right? And therefore then a person, in spite that person is not that impressed by the answer, still he can say that yes, it is a rational answer. So this subjective plus objective assessment again brings rationality into the picture. So therefore, 4 important things while writing the answer. You have to satisfy the demand of the question in specific way, in a specific structure. Standard operating procedure we have to follow, and it is going to be evaluated. If it is not going to be evaluated, anybody will write random things which he wants to, right? For example, we do our journalism, we do our ledgers. You write a personal diary. In personal diary, you can write anything because there is no one to check it, right? But this is not going to happen here. Here your answer would be evaluated. Now let's talk about important points while writing the answer. What are these important points? Nothing but, as I told you, we are going to discuss standard operating procedure first. What is the standard operating procedure of answer writing? First is identification of keyword, identification of topic, and identification of parts in that particular question. As I told you, in a every question there are certain keywords. Keywords are nothing but they change the tone of the question. So for example, I will give you the list now. You can take the screenshot right now. For example, 3 W's. So what, why, how. These are basic 3 questions which we asked in our lives. Okay. Describe, discuss, examine, okay, analyze, okay, etc. Basically for NABARD and RBI, only this much keywords are more than enough. You shouldn't be thinking about more keywords apart from this, because even though any of the random keywords come in your exam, then also you can write a good answer. How? Simple. If I ask you any question, that please describe me this, please explain me this, always remember, whenever this such type of keywords come, you don't have to fear, you don't have to get scared. Basically, you just have to try to understand what it means. Discussion is nothing but, overall, what is discussion? Discussion is nothing but where multiple people discuss about a topic, they talk about a topic. Multiple people in the sense multiple dimensions should be there in your answer. That's it. Basic understanding. Think like a layman. Then describe. Again, describe means what? From your point of view, if you are explaining everything about a topic, that is describe. That's it. Then it's explain or examine is different. Explain. What could explain be? Explain is nothing but if a particular term is there, if a particular topic is there, explaining it thoroughly from A to Z, that is your explanation. Examine is nothing but stating certain arguments, stating certain thesis, antithesis, that is statements which can either support the question or maybe either they don't support the question. So these statements whatever are there which are asked, examine is nothing but stating those statements and then trying to find out that are those statements correct or not. Okay. So in this way, this is examine. Analyze is again similar to examine only. In analyze, you try to find out the reasons, the explanations, the rationality behind a particular topic which has been asked. Keywords you don't need to worry about, because in RBI and NABARD, what we have seen is that basic keywords comes. Okay, so these are the basic keywords which actually come. The main point is topic. You are having NABARD syllabus with you of ESI and ARD. Any question, as I told you, the previous year questions of 2021 and 2022, therefore we are having important topics with us. From those topics only the question can come. If in last 2 years social forestry has come, then why won't this year maybe a question come from forestry, but not based on social forestry? It may come on agroforestry. So in this way you have to always be ready. Now therefore you should have conceptual clarity in all the topics. You cannot anticipate that I think in phase 2 this question will come. No, don't anticipate, just prepare. So how to prepare that? First, your conceptual clarity of the topic should be there. You should identify the keyword, which keyword has been asked in the question. Once you identify the keyword, you understand the demand of the question. Once you identify the topic, now you know that particular to this, in relation to this topic, that demand is there. And the third part is that when I am trying to answer the demand of the question, actually how many demands are there? For example, a question may have 3 parts, then of course 3 demands are there of that particular topic. So therefore, these 3 identification is our first standard operator, first step of the procedure. Second is the structure. Now always remember, when we are talking about structure, the structure is broken down into 3 parts. First is intro, second is body, and third is conclusion. So when I talk about this intro, body and conclusion, let's try to understand that through a example. Intro, body and conclusion, let's try to understand with our example, and here I have shared even a template. So look at it here, template has been given. This is introduction, this is your body, and this is your conclusion. Always remember introduction. What is the introduction? How do you introduce yourself in your before your friends? How do you do that? So introduction is nothing but, okay, introduction is nothing but you try to introduce the first basic things about you. Okay, so introduction will not have something which you are going to write later. It will have the most important crux about you that you are going to tell your friends when you are discussing with your friends and when you are trying to introduce. Oftenly when you are talking with the people, how do you introduce yourself? Hi, I'm Suraj. Why do we start with hi, I'm Suraj? Simple. The most important thing in our life is our name. The name is what we are having and by which what we are called by. Everybody calls me Suraj. So that's how important it is. Okay, our life starts with our name and even ends with our name, right? Ego. So that's how important it is. In similar way, the introduction also should have important facets. The first part is 20 to 30 words you should have in introduction, only 20 to 30 words. Second thing, in introduction you can elaborate in concise way about the topic. So it could be either definition, it could be either terminology, it could be either data, fact, or maybe sometimes it may be even a statement of an important official, important minister with respect to that topic which the question is having. For example, a question comes from horticulture on food processing, and if our food processing minister had said something, then definitely that statement you can write it in our introduction. So introduction can have definition, can have terminology, data, fact, it can have quote, or it can have a statement which is from a report, index, or even by a important personnel. Introduction should be very, very concise and a summarized form of whatever topic which has been asked or which has been associated in that particular question. Always remember, if you are not understanding anything, always use this particular keyword to write your introduction. So suppose a question comes on globalization, write what is globalization. Suppose a question comes on inflation, write what is inflation. So if you don't know anything about introduction, always go with what, that means go with the definition, because it is the basic thing which you can write in the introduction. Okay, if you want to add value, you can definitely go with terminologies, data, facts, or your quote. Then the main body part which we are talking about is nothing but the middle part of the answer. So your body part, always remember, it should, the main body of the question, it is the main part of your answer. Main part, body is the main part of the answer. Why? Simple. It will satisfy the core demand of the question. It will satisfy the core demand of the question. Now, how to write a body? Always remember, body should be always structured well. And what do I mean by structuring? What do I mean by structuring? What do you mean by structure? So you cannot write random things. As I told you, there are various ways of structuring an answer. You can write an answer in paragraph. You can write an answer in your points. You can, sometimes we write essay, and essay is also a type of answer only. So therefore, structure of the answer matters a lot. Here in RBI and NABARD, you are going to write in pointers. You are going to write in pointers rather than paragraphs. Rather than paras, you are going to write in points. Now, when you are writing in points, always remember, use a proper structure. And structure means nothing but, as we all discussed, we are going to write in points. But are we going to write random points? No. These points should be allocated or maybe segregated in important headings, under the important headings or under the important topics. So whatever points you are having to write in an answer, those should be segregated under important headings. So therefore, as you could see, the structure should have headings. Each heading should have a subheading, and that subheading should have an extended point. That point could be either supported by any example, case study, or even by any fact or data from any report or indice. This becomes the overall structure which we are talking about of an answer. So whenever you are writing a body, it should have headings. Each heading will have some subheadings, and each subheadings will have certain points. Each point whatever you have written will have supporting examples or whatever facts, data. Now whatever subheadings and headings you have written, these could be arguments, these could be points, these could be dimensions according to the topic and according to the demand of the question. I hope you got it. Then comes in RBI and NABARD, if you see, the structure matters a lot because you are typing the answer, and therefore there is very high chance that your answer would be in a very unorganized and random manner. So therefore you can even end up into writing a paragraph as you are typing. Therefore you should properly segregate your points. These segregated points should be written under the headings and subheadings, and they should be also value addition to these points. These points, if they are argument, they should be supported by examples. If these are dimensions, they should be added or they should be supported with facts and data. Okay, so this is how to improvise your structure. And the last thing, if you see, that is your conclusion. Conclusion is nothing but summing up whatever the question was asked, summing up your answer to satisfy the demand of that question. So it could be either an optimistic solution, it could be a closing note, or maybe it could be a futuristic approach also, or maybe futuristic way forward also. Okay, so this is nothing but the overall, structure of your answer: intro, body and conclusion. Intro, body and conclusion. Let's try to understand through an example. Look at this particular question, which has again come up in our NABARD's previous year question from the ESI section. WTO policies have dual effect on Indian economy. Comment. 15 marks, 600 words. This was a compulsory question from ESI. What are the keywords? Look at it. Comment is your main keyword. Comment is the main keyword. Now what does comment means? Let's try to understand. Comment is nothing but, for example, you are having certain opinion. Is examiner asking you your opinion? For example, WTO has dual effects on the Indian economy. Comment. Are you going to write the answer like this? Yes, WTO has dual effects on the Indian economy. No, we cannot do that. So comment, of course, examiner is asking your view, your opinion, but more importantly, he wants your rational view about it. He wants a rational view about it. Now, how to write that? Try to understand. Our main keyword, as I told you, it's comment. The topics are WTO, its policies, international market, the structure of the WTO, and the effect of WTO on Indian economy. That's it. You should know. First, if you don't know WTO and the WTO policies and their effect on the Indian economy, that is a very different case. You cannot write the answer here. You should know at least something about WTO. Then only we can write an answer to a question which is based on the important topic, World Trade Organization, right? From your ESI syllabus only. It is not from outside of the syllabus. Introduction of WTO and its policy in international markets could be your intro. Okay, so you can start your answer with what WTO is, as well as what its policies are there in international markets. In brief, 2 to 3 lines. That's it. The examiner just would be wanting to know that do you know WTO and its policies or not. That's it. Now let's talk about body. As you know, they have mentioned a dual effect, and dual effect is also one of the keywords in our question. So the topic is WTO and its WTO's policies. That is the topic. Keyword is your comment and dual effect. So dual effect in the sense whatever WTO policies are there, how they are positively and negatively affecting the Indian economy. That's it you have to write. First is positive and negative consequences on the Indian economy. First is market access. Okay. Second is resolution of trade related disputes in WTO. Economic liberalization and agricultural disputes, that is agreement on agriculture. I hope you know all these topics. If you don't know these topics, then definitely you cannot write the answer for this particular question. Market access, that how WTO, whatever policies are there, which WTO generally makes the policy for developing nations also, as well as the developed nations also. where we all know that whatever WTO policies are there, they have now created a lacuna, or maybe they have differentiated the overall globe into two parties. First party is the nations which are developed, and the second party is developing and underdeveloped nations. Now both of these whatever groups are there, they are always fighting on the WTO policies. Okay, so therefore it may be market access, maybe through anti-dumping duties, etc. Resolution of trade related disputes. Trade disputes are there where trade war is going on between different nations. Economic liberalization, opening up of the economy, always harms the domestic economy of a nation because of the international trade. So therefore this is also one of the problems. And then comes agricultural disputes. As you all know, in various developing countries, subsidies are given in the agriculture. So this topic also you should be knowing, which is a major concern at the WTO stage. If you are knowing this, you can write positive and negative consequences of WTO policy on the Indian economy. Now, these two when you are writing, you can also add challenges. Okay, so dual effects in the body. First part would be your positive and negative consequences of WTO policies on Indian economy. Second part you will write challenges, that is nothing but preference which is given to the developed nations, impact on countries' vulnerable sectors, intellectual property right concerns, and impact on employment. So these all things you can discuss, and lastly in conclusion you can write WTO policies indeed exert a dual effect because of the whatever above reasons which we discussed. So conclusion also here you can say that WTO policies, how WTO policies have dual effect on the domestic markets, okay, as well as on the Indian economy, okay. And what even in this conclusion you can even write a way forward from the Indian economy's point of view, okay. So in this way you can definitely write this particular answer. What did we learn here? The first important thing, we tried to understand the demand of the question through keyword, topics, as well as through your parts of the question. Part of the question was one only. They just wanted to know that how WTO policies are having dual effect on Indian economy. The keywords were dual effect and comment, and the topic was WTO policies and WTO. Introduction we wrote. In body we understood how we structured. Now look at the structure. This is my main heading, positive consequences and negative consequences. In each heading I will write these subheadings, whatever positive consequences are there of WTO policies on Indian economy, whatever negative consequences also are there, I am going to write these subheadings. Now this market axis, here I am just trying to show you the structure. I have not written a complete answer here. This is just the structure of the answer, okay. So try to understand that. In market axis also you are going to extrapolate. You can write 2 points in the subheadings. So market axis, what you can write? First thing is in market axis the skewed trade, okay, between different countries, the various anti-dumping duties, okay, whatever go throughout the which are harmful for the domestic market. These you can discuss in the 2 points. Resolution of trade related disputes also, again you can write it 2 points. Economic liberalization also you can write 2 points, and agricultural disputes which are saying, here also you can mention the 2 points. Here even you can mention the agreement of agriculture and the overall issue of the Bali agreement also here, which is again associated with the WTO. So overall what we can say is that these whatever headings you are writing, each heading will have a subheading, and subheading should have 2 points. Now the examiner will come, okay, he has written a heading, then subheading, okay, 2 points for each, okay, in each positive and negative consequences he has written 4 points. Therefore if this is for 15 marks, I am giving 8 marks for these 8 points for his main body. He has also written challenges, so I will give him further 1 point. And he has written good conclusion as well as introduction, I will give him 1 more point. 8 plus 1 plus 1, 10 marks. 10 to 11 marks out of 15, this is the target we are trying to achieve. I hope you get it, how we are trying to break down the answer writing. So now let us discuss more about answer writing. The introduction should have definition and meaning, as I told you, and also I also added various things. Main body should have heading, subheading, and this heading, subheading should have pointers, example, facts. Conclusion is nothing but summarizing, and the third step is nothing but writing. That's it. You first structure it and then you write. Mistakes to avoid when you are doing answer writing. First is spending too much time on introduction. Your introduction and your conclusion always should be in 2 to 3 lines only, not more than that. Remember this very carefully. Beating around the bush. If you don't know about WTO, please, what you can do is that you can at least try writing the answer, but as you all know, as you don't know about WTO, your answer will turn out to be a generalist answer. And always remember, when your answer will turn out to be generalist, you will get medium or maybe lower average marks. If you want your answer to be better or maybe above average, above good, then definitely your answer should have that body which shows specialization. Specialization in context of the topic which has been asked in the question. So therefore, do not beat around the bush. What is beat around the bush? I just know what WTO is. I just know what WTO policy, something is going on the domestic and international markets, and the underdeveloped and developing countries are not happy with it. I just know this. Please do not do this. If you are having half information, half knowledge, it's better to prepare. Okay? Beating around the bush, the examiner would be more frustrated and he will give you lower marks. So there is no point of beating over the bush. But it could be a last resort because there could be a question which you are not prepared about. Okay? For example, for all the candidates who were in the 2021 NABARD Phase 2 exam, nobody knew that a cross-breeding question is going to come. Right? So most of the students would have beat around the bush. But always remember, rather than beating around the bush, what you could do is that try to write a above average answer. In answer writing, the content is just a prerequisite and only one dimension. The most important dimension of answer writing is the way in which you are writing the answer, different multiple dimension and points which you are writing, the structure of the answer. That's what defines your overall marks which you will get in the answer writing. The content is actually the most minimal part in the answer writing. Remember this. And that is why answer writing is not called something practice answer writing. It is an art which could only be attained by practicing. Grammatical and spelling mistakes should be avoided as you are typing, because as you all know, the testing here would be not done by examiner but rather by automation. Therefore, your grammatical mistakes, your punctuation mistakes, your spelling mistakes would be caught red hand. Therefore, please avoid this. Whatever the parts of the question are there, if 2, 3, 4 parts are there, always remember you should answer all the parts of question. If you only answer the half part of the question, you will get half marks. Time management. You are only given a stipulated time to write an answer for a question. And you have to not just write one question, but in NABARD per se, you have to write 4 questions out of 6 questions. So therefore, it becomes time stipulated, and therefore you have to increase your typing speed. Not using the keywords, one of the most blunders the student do. Now remember this, your checking is not going to be done by your examiner. It is going to happen by the automation. Okay, so machine is going to check it. Therefore, the machine will crawl or machine will try to fetch keywords. Now these keywords, for example, we will take the example of the last question. For example, 2 questions example we will take. The WTO question. If you are writing keywords like barley agreement, agreement on agriculture, okay, anti-dumping duties, trade wars, these are the keywords, then definitely you are going to get higher marks. Similarly, when you are writing cross-breeding questions answer, at that time, if you are writing different types of crossbreeding, so various crossbreeding types are there. In that, if you are mentioning even the different examples of crossbreeding, okay, so Sahiwal cattle, Gir cattle crossbreed, in that way, if you are mentioning certain keywords, then definitely there is very high chance that you will get higher marks. So therefore, you have to fetch for keywords. You have to always fetch for keywords which you are going to write in the answer. Then, not writing the examples. Do not bombard your answer with just statements, with just arguments. whatever you are writing, that should be rational, and that can be rational only when it is being supported by examples, facts or data. Exceeding the word limit, you should never do it. If the word limit is 400, plus minus 10 words is okay, but always it is advisable that you should complete your answer within the word limit. Okay, so if 400 words is the word limit, you should finish it within 399. Then comes the basic things which I have written for you. You can take the screenshot of it. Find what are you really supposed to answer. Do not just write what you know. Do not write what you know. Rather, write what you are supposed to answer, which you will be only able to answer when you understand the demand of the question. Second, find the keywords of the question, topics of the question and parts of the question to understand this demand. Answer the question according to the directive or according to the keyword. Structure the answer in a logical flow. So if you are writing the answer in points, each of your headings, each of your subheadings, headings, as you are writing in the line, they should be in a proper flow. There shouldn't be an abrupt point in between. Okay, so it should be a proper structure, proper flow. So maintain a correct logical flow. Introduction of the answer should be always a definition or basically a crux, a proper summary of what the topic is about. Body of the answer should have all the points, dimensions, arguments to justify whatever answer you are giving to satisfy this demand. So this brings to our, you should write what you are supposed to answer to satisfy the demand. That's what it is. Answering whatever you know is nothing but randomly just giving baseless statements, which won't give you marks. Conclusion of the answer should be nothing but overall, what do we conclude from the overall topic or whatever body you have written. Okay, so it could be way forward, it could be something optimistic line, or it could be even summary of whatever overall conclusion we got from the overall body or the answer we have written. You should not forget following things. First, providing value addition in your answer through example, facts, data. Sticking to the word limit, addressing the different parts of the question, giving the examples to substantiate your answer and to support your argument, using simple language, not using complicated language. This is again very, very important. It doesn't really matter that you should know perfect inflation definition. No, even if you know basic inflation definition, that is nothing but, it is nothing but the increase in prices of a particular product throughout the time for a specific period or after a specific period. Even basic thing, you know, general layman language is also fine and which can also give you very good marks. Bring creative thinking and critical thinking in your answer. Try to find out rationality, reasons, explanation and multiple dimensions which you can add in your answer. Express your opinion and bring original ideas and dimension in your answer, but always support them. Do not provide baseless opinions in your answer. And always remember, you have to always train, you have to always practice to score high answer writing in the regulatory bodies. Always remember, practice is only the key. Here the basic example we have already taken. Now there are certain tips which I will recommend you for answer writing. Read the question carefully and identify the keyword, identify the topic, and more importantly, identify the parts of the question. Create the structure in your mind only first. Okay, this is the proper structure, this is the proper keyword, this is the topic, okay, this is the demand of the question. So I would be writing these, okay, these 5, 6, 8 points. First make this up in your mind. After that, go for the introduction. In introduction, as I told you, what should be written, you have to write that. In body, always go for multidimensional points. Go for arguments, which should be written in the heading. Each heading should have subheading, and each subheading should have pointers. I hope you get this. Add facts, example, schemes and report, and then comes conclusion. Basic, these are the basic tips. Now essentials of the answer writing, essential in the sense what are the main things to score more in the regulatory body. First is understanding the demand of the question and the coherence. For example, the question may be asking something else and I may be writing answer something else. Okay, so please, the coherence is very, very important. Then it's content. Always remember, content is the prerequisite. It is the basic thing to write the answer. If you don't have content, you cannot write a good answer. But it is the only one thing which is from the answer writing. It is not the main thing, it is a prerequisite. The main thing is structuring your answer and the way in which you are writing the answer. That is the main thing. A person can have a very good content, but still he can have a bad answer. But there could be a second person also who has an average content, but he writes a very good answer. You don't need to have PhD on WTO reforms and WTO policies to write that WTO question. You just need to have an average understanding, but a very good answer writing skill. This is the difference. Next, the speed. The speed of answer writing when you are writing for RBI and NABARD, it should be always more than 30 words. Structuring of the answer writing, this will only come through practice, because there are many students who will have multiple points, but they don't know how to put those points in the headings and in the subheadings, how to make a proper structure. What I have seen is that many of the students are having content, many of the students are having arguments to write in the answer, many of the students are even having multiple dimensions, but they lack in a proper structure of the answer, they lack in the proper flow of the answer. And that the structure and the flow is one of the most important thing in an answer, which will fetch you higher marks. Almost everybody in the competitive exam race, every candidate, every student has conceptual clarity, has content, and that is why they have cleared phase 1, right? So the phase 2 candidates, more importantly, should have a proper structure and a proper flow in his answer writing, and that will come only through practice, because it is similar to writing an essay. It is similar to maybe writing something on your notebook, a paragraph or maybe a certain passage. More you write, more you will improve your skill of answer writing, the art of answer writing. Then is analyzing what you have written is very, very important. Always when you are writing the answer, look it from the third person's point of view. Don't consider that you have written the answer. Try to understand that any third person has written the answer and try to evaluate it. Once you evaluate, you will understand that whatever lacunas are there in your answer, whatever wrong things are there in your answer, and then try to mend those things and practice again and improve on your mistakes and your lacunas. This is the essential of answer writing practice. Secrets of answer writing, some I'll tell. Content is just a prerequisite, as I told you, and just a single dimension. Always remember, along with the content, structure is important. Flow of your answer and linkage is very, very important. The first heading which you have written, it should be linked with the second heading. For example, look at my answer. Look at this answer, okay? Just let me make it clear to you. Yes. So look at this. First is market axis I am talking about. World Trade Organization, the main objective of the organization is nothing but looking after the global trade, right? So therefore market axis I am talking about, global trade I am talking about. Then I am going towards the resolution of the global trade related dispute. Then I am going towards about opening up of the economy, and then I am going towards about sectoral, small things, that is agricultural dispute. A proper link is there between all the main headings. Then see here, challenges. First is preference to the developed countries. This is the main concern of WTO. Many of the developing nations are saying that WTO is biased towards the developed countries. First point is a very important point. Then comes impact of the country's vulnerable sector. Then comes the subsidiary points like IPR concern and impact on employment. So see here, a proper linkage is there in all my header points. So therefore, always remember, structuring is not just about writing heading, subheading and points. Not just about giving examples and facts, but also maintaining a flow and linkage between your answer, between your headings, between your points. I hope you get it. Typing speed should be always greater than 30 words per minute. If your typing speed is less than 30 words per minute, you are a slow typer. Spelling and grammatical mistakes. Look at this passage which I have written. WTO, see here, first capital WTO is not there. Also, you have written just the abbreviation. It should be World Trade Organization. At least one time you have to write the complete full form. Deals with the global trade. In between only capital words are there. It maintains the function to ensure the global trade, and then globalization is there. Spelling is wrong. So spelling, grammar and punctuation, that should be correct. In between only comma is there. Avoid these things, and therefore the best practice how to do that, try typing on notepad. There would be many people who will say that give here on this platform give the test, on that platform give the test. Rather than that, type on notepad. Then whatever answer you have written, copy that from the notepad, put it into the Word or put it on Grammarly. On Grammarly you will get grammatical mistake, punctuation mistake, spelling mistake as well as word limit. That's it. Grammarly solves your problem. Practicing. Use notepad to write all your answers. Copy the answer from notepad, put it on the Grammarly. Check for mistakes. Compare with the model answer, and then whatever mistakes are there, evaluate through marks. Give the marks as if you are the third person who is checking the answer. Improve your typing speed which is greater than 30 and prevent spelling, grammatical and punctual mistakes. Always remember, the arguments and the dimensions you put in your answer should be supported by data, facts and example. Last thing is, answer writing could be also improved by extensive reading. Therefore, try to read newspapers and articles, and more importantly, editorials. You will understand that how in newspaper different editorials are written, different arguments are presented, and to those arguments some facts are presented. Okay, and therefore you think that okay, I of course don't believe whatever is written in this newspaper, but yes, it is rational, right? It is rational. So what does it mean? There may be a writer, maybe a student or maybe a person who is saying something, putting an argument, or maybe putting something his opinion or view. You may not like it, but maybe he is giving some reason to it. Therefore, you are liking it, right? For example, you love ice cream. Your friend is saying that I am not eating ice cream at this time. You tell him that, but ice cream is very good. But your friend tells that this is a winter season. If you eat ice cream and even if I eat ice cream, we can have cold. So please, let's not have ice cream right now. We can have it later in summers. Now, you love ice cream, but still, whatever the facts, whatever the reason, rationality given by your friend is there, you like that. That's why, in spite that your opinions differ, you still accept that the things which your friend has said. Simple as that. This also works for answer writing. Understanding, analyzing, and then writing. As I told you, you should write what you are supposed to write. What has to be written according to the demand of the answer. Not to write what you know. And for that you have to understand the demand. You have to analyze what has been asked and structure the answer in your mind, and then you have to write. And then is evaluation. Where evaluation, as you have to do, you have to compare with the model answer. You have to give the marks, and more importantly, you have to use Grammarly for word limit, your grammatical, punctual and spelling mistakes. So basically this is what overall this answer writing class was all about. Last thing which I will tell is nothing but always remember that if you want to improve your answer writing, there is only one mantra, and that mantra is practice, practice and practice. Okay, so evaluation of the answer writing you could do through various parameters. It could be the structure of answer, it could be the content, it could be the presentation, it could be the keywords, which is very important for RBI and NABARD. It could be the language and expression of your answer. Okay, and depending on that, either an answer is excellent, good, average, or you're poor. So there is no subjective answer writing or descriptive answer writing where a student gets 0 marks. You understand? Always a student will again get above 0 marks, but your selection would be dependent on either your answer is excellent, good or average. That's it. So with this we end our session, and in next class we will try to understand in depth about answer writing. For now I will also show you some of the model answer writing. Okay. So as we discussed about the crossbreeding question, here's a sample answer to your crossbreeding. What is crossbreeding? See here, what is crossbreeding? First part of the question. Second part, explain the different methods of crossbreeding. Second part. Third part, what are advantages and disadvantages of crossbreeding? 3 parts are there in the question, right? 15 marks. 3 parts for 15 marks, so each part is for 5 marks. Let's try to understand. Introduction is by crossbreeding. Crossbreeding is a breeding strategy in which 2 animals from different breeds or genetic background are mated to produce offspring with desired traits. A very good definition. If you don't know this possible definition, you can even write about one thing. If I was in the examination hall and if I didn't knew about this definition, I would have written, it is a breeding procedure or a method through which the animals of different genetic backgrounds are reproduced or mated with each other to get the offspring of a desired genetic characters. Simple. The meaning is the same only. My language is different. It aims to combine the favorable characteristics of both parent breeds and improve the growth rate, disease resistance, better milk production, etc. This also you could add. Body. Now the second part comes of the question. Different methods of crossbreeding. So see here, there are several methods of crossbreeding. Each has its own approach and objective. First it's single two-way crossbreeding or single cross. Then it's three-way cross. Then it's double cross. Then it's systemic cross. What these main headings are, these are also keywords in your answer. The automated machine will go for fetch for the keywords. Single cross, yes, single cross is written. Three-way cross is written. Double cross is written. Systematic cross is written. Back cross and crisscross is written. And therefore, this is how you get the answer. You get more marks in your answer. Advantage of the crossbreeding. Simple. Advantage of the crossbreeding, they have given the advantages. Hybrid vigor. Okay. So good genetic characters. Complementary traits. That means if 2 parent cattle are there, one is drought resistant and second is having higher milk production, the offspring will have both the characters. Heterosis. It improves the performance of the offspring. Again, this is also a keyword. So this is how content helps you, or maybe conceptual clarity helps you in your answer. Maximized performance, higher efficiency and productivity. These are all your points. Now look at my points also. The main point, hybrid vigor, is the most important point. As why crossbreeding is done? Simple, to improve the genetic like overall whatever enhanced characters you will be getting in your offspring. That is the main purpose of your crossbreeding. So the first point is that linkage is also there. See, random points are not there in between, twisted. All are in line. Then disadvantage. These are also in line. These are also logically connected. Answer is having a flow. Look at it. First I gave advantage. Then I gave disadvantage. I didn't give disadvantage first and then advantage. Flow is there. And then comes conclusion. Similarly, benefits of globalization on Indian economy. The same question. Answer. Look at here. The word globalization, definition of the globalization has been given. Then body has been given. In body, main points are written. And then conclusion has been written. So this is how we end our lecture here. And I think in this particular lecture, you understood a lot of things. Okay. So thank you and see you next time. In our next lecture, what we are going to learn? Of course, we are going to take multiple questions, and for each multiple question, we are going to take proper multiple introductions. So we are going to learn how to write an introduction, how to write a body, how to add multiple dimensions in body, and how to write a conclusion. This is going to be our next answer writing class. Thank you very much. See you next time.